Okay, it's 6:15. I'll call to order the Community and Business Relations Committee. Trustee McGovern and myself are present. Trustee Ursink is running a bit late, should be here by 6:30, but used this meeting. We have one agenda item this evening, consider a pilot program for multiple block party permit application for North Morris roadway closure for trick or treat in 2025. Any questions from President McKay? Comments, so thank you. Any questions or thoughts, concerns from committee members? Any member present?
Nope.
So, I mean, here's kind of where, one, looking at this map, I don't think it would make any sense to close south of, so not putting barricades on Capitol, just giving people an option in a U-turn. Morris. With that said, there's a pretty extensive breakdown of what would be required for citizens. I'm wondering, it seems like a whole lot of work for the citizens.
Yeah.
What's stopping us? Closed. Why do we need to have permits, citizen involvement? Closed. And we'll see how it goes. Works well this year, it works well. If it doesn't, then we can. But sort of putting this big long, I think this is something from the village. Seems a more appropriate way to do it.
No,
2 seconds.
yeah, that's fine.
I should probably speak into a microphone because the municipal clerk has asked me to. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't, Trustee McGovern, I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, generally, I'm in favor of this sort of thing. It seems like a nice thing. We should just try to make it easier for people. On a special day, have a street closed for trick-or-treating or block party or whatever holiday may be. And, I think we should just see how this goes. And the board, as if future applications come in.
Is there village manager Ewald? It sounds like we're less interested in a big formal process of going to, people getting signatures and there being a sponsor and someone what is stopping us from the village's perspective of just closing that block for the 3 hours of trick or treat and then opening it back up at the end? Does it need to be more difficult than that?
I don't have the map in front of me, but is the segment you're talking about just one block with two endpoints?
It would be,
or is it multiple blocks?
So it is
intersecting
Morris
streets?
Boulevard. And I could walk it over to you, but then I wouldn't be on a mic.
But with only two openings, meaning that there's no other, it's a shorter segment than what was initially proposed.
It's a shorter segment, but there is Matt, do you know what street that is? What the north-south end of Triangle Park is? It's not on the map.
Is Kenmore?
Is it Kenmore?
So there's an additional intersection coming into the street.
One intersection that tees into Morris. Sorry, I can't remember.
I think it's
I can tell you who used to live on the corner of that street, but I don't know the name of the street. So I'm wondering if we go from Elmdale to Olive, right? As opposed to Capitol Drive to Olive.
Mm-hmm.
We take out Elmdale, we take out the alleys that are just north of Capitol Drive.
Oh, there's Kenmore.
Kenmore, the other Angle Street to Triangle Park.
So I'm not the police chief nor the director of public works, so I'd need to take that back for feedback, but it would still necessitate a hard closure at Capitol Drive for purposes of steering people around. Or is that, I don't see a street name right there. Is there a street in between Elmdale Court and Capitol?
No, it's an alley.
Yeah.
It's an alley on both ends.
So that would, from listening to both the police chief and the director of public works, it would require hard closure still at Capitol. So it becomes a matter of resources. And then also I anticipate getting posed the question of why can't we do this on our block? So we don't have resources to be in multiple areas of the village, and I'm just forecasting that.
That's fine,
Because I
yeah.
anticipate that we're going to get that question, because we have some blocks who do this independent of us,
Mhm.
and simply do a closure at a time that their block coordinates and organizes.
But
So
it's not a hard,
It's not a hard closure.
Correct.
Just, if anything, it'd
So
be a
that
block
would
party.
become a question. So I cannot tell you right now if there's personnel in which to do this. That's something that needs to be consulted on. It will require more, it's just not 2 openings. It does require hard closure on Capitol. So I anticipate that it's the overtime for people coming in to do this,
Don't we
and
generally,
whether those resources are available.
have 2 DPW staffers on call on the weekends? Aren't there generally staffers that are available?
On call
Well, I mean,
for
they're-
emergencies, yes.
but-
Staffing events or staffing this on trick or treat, no, we have not yet done that before.
I guess what my question is, and this is probably a better question for Leanne.
Yeah, because I'm
Because
just
it's her department, yeah.
hypothetical.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
just want, I
guessing right
mean,
now.
it's a matter of putting up some barricades, taking down some barricades. I mean, I suspect, perhaps incorrectly, that DPW has staff that would be available to do that.
I don't know.
So we should probably defer this and see if the police chief and Director Bushlick.
I do, though, have the larger question, because I have been asked this already.
Yeah.
Which is, we don't have resources outside of this to do additional closures. So just in general, I want to know how to respond to people when they communicate that they want it during the same time on their block.
But there is no process for that.
So this
a-
is the
Yeah.
only one that we would be closing.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. Is like, this could be first come, first serve. This came up for this year among some of the trustees, and we can say yes this time,
it's a
see how it goes. If
Yeah.
someone else wants to do it, we say, we don't have the resources.
it's a village trustee initiative. I mean, we don't have a process, so we don't need to make one. Because we wouldn't have the resources to cover it anyways. Right? Is what I'm hearing.
I don't believe so. I mean, to accomplish this, it's still just because of the number of openings, street openings that intersect with this particular roadway and the location on Capitol Drive. But again, that's a question for the department heads and whether they're able to staff the event for this.
Okay. President McKay.
Yeah, I was just going to say that if part of what I'm hearing is that the committee wishes to not take basically the staff is recommending best practice for minimum risk and liability to the village. Should the village board disregard those recommendations, then I think I would be concerned that we're opening ourselves to liability if somebody were to be injured. So that's the reason in my mind for the process. It may appear cumbersome, but it's because we're trying to proceed with best practice in mind. So that's just a consideration.
Understood.
Similar to the July 4th.
Yeah, I mean, my position is that we close streets all the time in all different parts of the village. That has nothing to do with citizen requests or citizen involvement. It's, DPW is doing this or we're doing that. We close streets all the time. So, I don't know why 3 hours of closure, 4 hours of closure, half hour on either end would be more difficult and requires more of a lift than any other street closure that we've done in the village. But I'm happy to have the conversation with staff, specifically the chief and Director Bush. Like, we can do it on the side, we can do it in committee, like whatever schedule works best for them. But I would prefer that Trustee Ursink be here as well, since it's his block. So you want to defer it and then,
Or do we bring this to the whole village board? since then, all the,
We can.
Leanne's usually there. Nate-
Thoughts?
It's really up to you guys.
I'm good either way.
I mean, it might just be better to do a board meeting, public
Okay.
comment.
Okay, then well, we're not required to have any action this evening, so then I'll just request that it be an agenda item for the village board.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you can make that motion.
So I'll just move the,
Or do you want to make just the recommendation?
I'll just make a
that you're
written,
looking
yeah,
for?
I'll just make a written request that it become an agenda item for the board, and then, we can take it up as the board and be done with it one way or the other. For you? Okay. Then I need you to make a motion
Adjourn.
to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? Stand adjourned at 6:26.